सोनाली मैडम,
हो, एक मिनिट.
डॉक्टर नको होस का? डॉक्टर नको होस का?
हो, एक मिनिट.
डॉक्टर नको होस का? डॉक्टर नको होस का?
हो, एक मिनिट.
डॉक्टर नको होस का? डॉक्टर नको होस का?
हो, एक.
डॉक्टर नको होस का? डॉक्टर नको होस का?
केलं.
तुझा मोबाईलचा व्हॉल्यूम ऑफ कर.
एक मिनिट.
डॉक्टर आनंद जी वणक्कम, नमस्ते.
नमस्ते, नमस्कार.
Namaskaram, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you.
Good evening, all. Myself, Nitin Tavde, on behalf of Yoga Vidya Niketan, welcoming you all to this first lecture. That is the first Pushpa of this lecture series, Pushpanjali, as a part of the activity of Yoga Vidya Niketan to celebrate its Golden Jubilee year. As per the Vivian tradition, I request Sonali Madam to start the program with 3 Omkar and prayer. Sonali Madam, please. As a part of the activity of Yoga Vidya Niketan to celebrate its
Am I
Golden
audible?
Jubilee year. As per the Vivian tradition,
Am I audible, sir?
I request
Hello?
Sonali Madam to start the program with 3 Omkar and prayer. Sonali Madam, please. As a part of
Am
the
I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
You are audible. That the YouTube live streaming is some problem, creating a problem. Echo is coming.
Just one.
Request Sonali Madam to start the program 3 Omkar and prayer. Sonali Madam, please.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
You are audible. That the YouTube live streaming is some problem, creating a problem. Echo is coming.
Just one.
Sonali Madam to start the program 3 Omkar.
Am I audible?
Yes. You are audible. That the YouTube live streaming is some problem, creating a problem. Echo is coming.
Just one. Now it's okay? Okay. Sorry for the disturbance. Okay. Thank you, Nitin sir. Namaskar, Bhavnani sir. And good evening, everyone. As per the Yoga Vidya Niketan tradition, we start today's our first Yoga Pushpanjali Pushpa with 3 Omkar followed by prayer. So sit straight, your back is straight, look straight. Just drop your eyelids. Just observe your breath. Your breathing is going normally, natural. Our first with your back is straight. Straight. Just
Can't hear.
for Omkar, take a deep inhalation. Om. 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 Om Bhurvasvah Tassaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodaya Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanam Sunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamas Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Tangamaya Feel the positive vibration of Omkar and prayer on your body and mind. Slowly open your eyes. Over to Nitin sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonali madam. Good evening, everybody. All of you know that on 22nd March 2023, Yoga Vidya Niketan inaugurated the Golden Jubilee year in a function at Yoga Bhavan, Vashi. Yoga Vidya Niketan is offering various interesting and educative activities during this year. This Yoga Pushpanjali lecture series is one of the first activity of this program. In this lecture series, all of us will have a golden opportunity to listen to some of the eminent personalities in the field of yoga on first Sunday of every month for the next 12 months. We are sure that all of these speakers will enlighten us with their knowledge in the field of yoga. We therefore request you all to make the best use of this opportunity. Invite your friends to attend the same. So sit back, relax, listen intently, and enjoy. We can have a question answer session only if the time permits. You can post your questions in the chat box, and also please take care to remain mute throughout the entire session. when the doctor speaks. Now I request Jaya Madam to introduce our today's distinguished speaker. Over to Jaya Madam. Jaya, you are mute.
Okay. So, namaste everyone. See, being the believer and follower of yoga, we have realized how the stressful and unhealthy lifestyle is at the root cause of all diseases. So there is need to learn how to manage stress and stay well. Still, we find that the major focus is on the cause and the cure of the disease alone. Focusing our attention on health as against the cause of the disease is called salutogenesis. Now it's our pleasure to have among us the director of the Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine, Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavnani, who is also the professor of yoga therapy at Sri Balaji Vidyapith University, Pondicherry. He serves as member of numerous expert committees of the Ministry of Ayush, including a steering committee of the Yoga Certification Board, National Board for Promotion of Yoga and Naturopathy, and many more. He is consultant resource person for the World Health Organization Collaborative Center in Traditional Medicine Yoga at Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, New Delhi. He is also EC member and Joint Secretary of Indian Yoga Association and Senior Vice President of National Yogasan Sports Association. He is chairman of the International Center for Yoga Education and Research at Anandashram Pondicherry and Yoganjali Natyalayam, the premier institute of Yoga and Carnatic music and Bharatanatyam in Pondicherry. He is the son of Yoga Maharshi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj and Yogacharini Kalai Mamani Ammaji Meenakshi Devi Bhavnani. He is also a classical Indian vocalist, percussionist, music composer, and choreographer of Indian classical dance. A fellow of the Indian Academy of Yoga, he has authored many books and has several publications on yoga in national and international journals to his credit. He is a recognized PhD guide for yoga therapy and is the first Indian to be recognized as an IAYT certified yoga therapist by the International Association of Yoga Therapists, USA. He is an honorary advisor to International Association of Yoga Therapists, Australasian Association of Yoga Therapists, and Geetananda Yoga Association worldwide. He has conducted several talks, public events, workshops globally, and been major presenter at yoga conferences in prominent countries in all the 5 continents. With all these credentials, he definitely is the most authoritative person to tell us about the synthesis of traditional wisdom with modern scientific knowledge. Doctor, I welcome you on behalf of Yoga Vidya Niketan and all the participants here who are eagerly waiting to hear your views on the subject. Over to you, sir.
Namaste, namaskaram, swagatam, vanakkam, shubdinam. A very, very pleasant Sunday afternoon, and it is a great honor to be the first petal of the Pushpanjali series. I consider myself not even a full flower, only a petal of the flower, but we know that Eka Bilva Shivapadam, the power of it also. I would like to first of all thank you all for this opportunity to be with you. Nothing gives me greater joy than being with my fellow members of the Yoga Parivar. My Vishwa Yoga Parivar is the closest to my heart, and you are all part of that Vishwa Yoga Parivar. I would like to congratulate Yoga Vidya Niketan on this golden jubilee year. And it is wonderful that you have kept the flag of yoga flying high with your noble efforts and the grace of the Guru Parampara. I offer my deep salutations to Yogacharya Padma Shri Nimbalkarji, who has been the guiding light behind all these activities. And it is a example for the rest of not just the country, but the world, how dedicated efforts can create an institution that stands for yoga in its holistic form, Purna Swarupa of yoga itself. So I congratulate the organization. I pay my respects to the founders. I offer my congratulations and support to the present team and all the members of this Yoga Vidya Niketan Parivar. Today, I'm going to be sharing a topic that's very close to my heart, because I believe that we need a synthesis, and I hope my PPT is being seen. That's wonderful. I believe that we need a synthesis between our traditional wisdom and the modern scientific knowledge. For too long, we are having a fight between it, because we think either we should have tradition or we should have science. And this is because someone told us you cannot have your cake and eat it too. But Indian culture says you can have your cake and eat it too, because Sarvam Brahmamayam. So there's no issue at all for us in India. We understand we can have both. And that is the great tradition of iti iti. This can also be there, that can also be there. Everything can coexist in the same harmonious existence. Being trained in yoga from not just my childhood, from the moment of conception, when people ask me, how long is your experience in yoga? I say, you add 9 months to my age and you will get how much experience there is, because the moment of conception, where my beloved parents came together, my gurus came together, in that holy union that I was created, is when that beautiful consciousness of yoga was seeded along with the physical seed into that beautiful space of my mother's womb. And growing up, listening to my father's teachings while I was in my mother's womb, coming out and listening to them, imbibing them, I have grown up in a true Gurukula setting, understanding yoga as a holistic science of living. At the same time, I have been trained in modern medicine also. So I have understood the scientific perspective, the importance of objective, rational thinking, what today we call randomized controlled trials. I've understood that also. And for me, both are like two eyes. Through this eye, I see some things. Through this eye, I see other things. And when I use both my eyes, I can see the whole perspective. That gives me that Purna Swarupa, which is what life is all about. So this talk, I am attempting to share with you how I view this synthesis between both. I would like to invoke the Guru Parampara that through my parents goes back through the Kambli Swami Parampara all the way to the Rishi Agastya, and through Swami Kanakananda Bhrigu, my father's own yoga guru, who is mentioned in the autobiography of a yogi as Ram Gopal, through him to the Rishi Bhrigu himself. Om Tatparam Paryaya Vidmahe Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimahi Tanno Guruh Prachodayate. Om Om Yoga Maharishi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Puduvai Kalaimamani Puduvai Shakti Yogacharini Ammaji Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani Guru Mata Ki Jai. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Now the university I am working in, Sri Balaji Vidyapith, has created history by becoming the first university to have an institute for cellulogenesis. And along with cellulogenesis, a complementary medicine. Here, our emphasis is on moving from pathogenesis, that is a focus on disease, to a focus on health and wellness and well-being, which is cellulogenesis. And in order to understand this, we need to go back and say, what is this cellulogenesis? Salus means health in Latin. Genesis means the source. So in combination, the sources of health. This is absolutely in tune with our cultural ethos of India, where we understood thousands of years ago, Samadosha Sama Agnischa Samadhatu Malakriya Prasanna Atma Indriya Mana Swast Ityabhidiyate by Acharya Shushruta around 600 BC. The definition of health as swast is cellulogenesis. And this is why the cellulogenetic definition is swast. What is the heart of cellulogenesis? It is a pervasive, long-lasting and dynamic feeling of confidence that our internal and external environments are predictable, and that there is a lot of chance, high probability, that things will work out as well as can be expected. We always tell people when they are feeling a challenge, hold on, everything will be fine. Don't worry, everything will end well. That is a sense of cellulogenesis. The confidence that yes, all will end well when I make the effort properly. That is that sense of coherence that we are working towards as the heart of cellulogenesis. And this has strong positive correlations to perceived health, mental health, and quality of life. It has three components. The first component is where you realize my world is understandable. I can understand the world in which I live. The second is I can manage my life. The world I'm living in is manageable. And the third is my world has meaning. Now, all three of these are fostered by the yogic way of living, because we start to understand what life is all about. Because the emphasis of yoga as a life skill helps us understand what is happening in us and around us through the process of swadhyaya. We are constantly trying to awaken the viveka buddhi to understand things better through the development of prajna. Similarly, we are given the tools to cope with life. Whenever there's a challenge, I have the yogic tools to cope with it. If there's a physical challenge, I have the tools. If there's a mental challenge, I have the tools, and we are enhancing the coping skill. And yoga gives us the purpose of life. We realize dharmartha kama mokshanam chaturvida purushartham. We realize that there is a purpose behind everything, and we have to find that purpose, which is our swadharma, which is the highest dharma according to Yogeshwar Sri Krishna himself. Now, if I contrast this cellulogenesis, pathogenesis, what causes disease? How to avoid the problem? I don't want disease. What can I do about it? I have pain. How can I work against it? And how can I survive? During the COVID pandemic, all of us have been caught in abhinivesha klesha, survival instinct of the highest order. All goes into pathogenesis. Cellulogenesis asks the important questions. What causes health? How can I attain my peak potential? Swami Vivekananda has told us all souls are potentially divine. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. How do you reach that potential? You want presence of health. You want to promote positive health. You want to grow, evolve. That parinama, transformation you want to have. And you want to live life fully. Not enough just to survive. You want to live life fully. And that is why we realize illness and wellness are a continuum. It is not that just because you don't have a disease, you are healthy. No. Some days we are healthy, some days we are not healthy. Some days we are more healthy than other days. Some days we are less healthy than other days. And it is a continuum. There is the illness treatment paradigm where most of the medical hospitals, like our hospital, they work, where disability, signs and symptoms are managed. But the wellness paradigm, which is of yoga, yoga is a wellness paradigm, not a disease treatment paradigm. And I'm talking, even when we talk of yoga chikitsa, yoga as a therapy, we must remind ourselves it is not a treatment paradigm, it is a wellness paradigm. It includes the treatment of the disability, sign and symptom, but it also is producing awareness, education, growth to promote high level of wellness. And that is why what is health? It's a dynamic state, a dynamic movement, a continuum between total ill health on one side and total health on the other. And we are constantly moving. That dot is moving from left to right now and then in different ways. Some days towards the pathogenic, some days towards the salutogenic. It is constantly moving. Now today I am looking at a synthesis. And Rudyard Kipling, who lived for a long time in India, he wrote many famous books. And Rudyard Kipling, he made a statement long back. Oh, east is east and west is west, and never the twain shall meet. But the problem is, I have to tell him that I'm very sorry, Mr. Kipling, the east and west have met through yoga. And his favorite character, Mowgli of the Jungle Book, even he is doing asanas these days, as you can see here. The meeting of the east and west has happened very effectively. Today, if we look at the Western countries, many Eastern healing traditions have percolated the healthcare system worldwide, especially mind-body therapy. And don't forget, yoga is the original mind-body medicine. Today they talk about mind-body medicine, the original mind-body medicine, going back to the Yoga Vashishta that talks about Adija Vyadhi, Anadija Vyadhi. All of this is found in our tradition long before anybody created a term mind-body. We are promoting the connections between the human brain, the mind, the body, and the individual behavior. So yoga is indeed all about integration. If you go to the UK, on the National Health Service website, they talk about yoga today. This is amazing that they have brought it. We in India are still having debates. We are still having antagonism between IMA and IYA. We all have to come together, work together. Dozens of scientific trials have been published, and they say most studies suggest yoga is a safe and effective way to increase physical activity, especially strength, flexibility, and balance. They have talked about the evidence being there for high blood pressure, heart disease, aches and pains, especially lower back pain, depression, and stress. This is not on Indian government website. This is not on IMA website. This is not on Indian Health Ministry website. This is on National Health Service website of UK. See, this is how it has reached people. Now you go to the USA, the same thing. They did a survey, use of yoga and meditation. Now, I do not like this dichotomy, yoga and meditation. For me, meditation is the heart of yoga. But this is how they approach it. So they have given that documentation that how that enhancement between 2012 and 2017, the next survey is due anytime. How there was this increase from 9.5 to 14.3, and in meditation from 4 to 14. This is the amount of people utilizing these systems today. And as a complementary health approach, 58% people to maintain health and well-being, 16% to treat specific condition. With back pain is the #1 reason why people come to it. And 22%, this I love a lot, 22% said that doctor recommended it. In America, the doctor has recommended yoga. How many doctors in India still recommend yoga unless they are also practicing? This is where we have to realize that it is percolating throughout the world. And a 2016 Yoga in America survey, done by the Yoga Journal and Yoga Alliance. They said that top 5 reasons people start yoga: for flexibility, stress relief, general fitness, to improve overall health, physical fitness, and 86% report strong sense of mental clarity. Chitta Prasadanam is what they are telling. Without knowing Chitta Prasadanam, they are saying mental clarity. And 73% physically strong. You know, Hasti Baladini, says Maharishi Patanjali. Baleshu Hasti Baladini. By focusing on strength, you get the elephantine strength, he says, in the Vibhuti Pada, a pada that most people avoid. Then, what I liked very much here, 79% of the people doing yoga in America, they said they feel to give back to the community, that Seva Bhavana is being developed by the practice of yoga. We all know that. But it is interesting how this is percolating the world and coming back to us this way. Just yesterday, 1st of April, I went on to PubMed and I searched how many articles are there. PubMed is the gold standard of research. How many articles are there on yoga therapy? 7,488. That's just yoga therapy. And you can see here, between 1948, where the first research studies started to get published, and look in 2023, this last 10 years, look at how this graph is changing here. I hope you can see I'm circling that area, how that graph is changing with so much of research coming up now. This is the amount of research being published in the gold standard. PubMed journal is gold standard. So we are finding a lot of this happening these days. At this time, I would like to introduce you to my own yoga research mentor, Professor Madan Mohanji. Professor Madan Mohanji, who is the chairperson of Pondicherry chapter of IYA, he is a pioneer in integrating yoga in modern medicine. And he was working in JIPMER. And right from the time he joined JIPMER in 1976 or 78, he got interested in yoga, worked with my father. 1981, they published the first paper together on the effect of Savitri Pranayama, one of the pranayama in our tradition. In 1981 and 83, papers were published. He strived to bring yoga, and in 2008, thanks to Moraji Desai National Institute of Yoga and my dear Dr. Basava Reddy, we could actually introduce yoga officially to medical students. Now, last year, the National Medical Commission has included yoga as part of the activity and MBBS syllabus, 2022. 2008, officially 14 years before NMC, before MCI, we were able to introduce it, and the work he did in bringing it together. What a beautiful image of all these medical students sitting and practicing yoga. This is the type of integration, the synthesis we want. Because then we will have people who understand yoga, they understand modern medicine, and can treat the individual as a whole person, not as kidneys, not as pancreas, not just as, oh, that patient, that kidney patient, that diabetic patient. No, it is an individual having the disease. That individual deserves respect. You have to appreciate that individual and treat them as a whole person. We say whole person approach to yoga therapy can only come if this synthesis occurs. It is happening around the world through Professor Bijlani at AIMS, Sadhbir Khalsa in Harvard, Shirley Tellis at Patanjali, Larry Payne in USA, and Dr. Dean Ornish, who published showing that you can reverse heart disease through a yoga-based lifestyle modification program. He didn't call it yoga at that time, but there's a lot of yoga-based aspects in it. And this is from a recent event we had held, and the meeting with my own Dr. Dilip Sarkar ji and others, all these medical doctors who have understood yoga and are taking it as a synthesis. Again, this synthesis has resulted in some beautiful textbooks, including one of my recent ones on yoga therapy as a whole person approach to health, written with Lee Majeski, who did a lot of work in Kaibala Dhamma for chronic disease and cancer. Dilip Sarkar's Yoga Therapy, Ayurveda and Western Medicine, Yoga Therapy and Integrative Medicine. So many new textbooks are coming up synthesizing. And even as I speak, there are another dozen textbooks that have come out. Such is the prolific work going on. Another work I would like to highlight that has given this synthesis is Joseph LePage, who nearly a decade ago visited India, went to different centers around India who are working in yoga therapy, and made a video documentation of yoga therapy in India, a video project, and made amazing contribution, highlighting to the Western people how yoga therapy has existed for thousands of years in India. It is not a new creation that has happened overnight. So coming back, what is this yoga and what is yoga therapy? We must remember that yoga therapy, which is yoga chikitsa, lies within the bigger picture of yoga. It is not separate and it is not bigger. Because today, in trying to market yoga therapy, people make it sound like yoga therapy is the bigger circle, and some people take the yoga out of it. I remind them, if you take yoga out of yoga therapy, it is only therapy, it's not yoga therapy. You have to keep the yoga in yoga therapy. And to keep yoga in yoga therapy, you have to keep Indian culture in yoga. Otherwise, yoga cannot be yoga without the Sanatana Dharma. That is the ethos of yoga. And this makes me popular sometimes and unpopular sometimes. Yoga therapy is nesting inside the larger yoga, neither separate nor greater than yoga. And this is a publication we made in 2019 with some of my amazing colleagues in the USA on Shared Foundation for Practice, the Language of Yoga Therapy, a paper that is there online for everybody to download free. I would like to present now a few of the traditional concepts and revised modern understanding as part of this synthesis. Because we want to communicate between the modern young doctors who have this rational mindset with our ancient Rishi culture, which is yoga. So I would like to introduce the concept starting with Panchakosha. The Panchakosha concept, which is essentially from the Taittiriya Upanishad, it talks about the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. And some traditions say you go from the Annamaya to the Anandamaya by going inward. Some say you go outward. So this diagram brings both together. You will see that Annamaya Kosha is here. You can go both inside to find Anandamaya or go outward to find Anandamaya, because Andam and Pindam are the same. Yat Ande Tat Brahmande. We understand that Andathil ullade Pindam, Pindathil ullade Andam, Andamum Pindamum one way, say our Siddhas in South India. And that is why that journey can go both ways, because if I bring a new modern perspective, you will realize it. Every cell in the body has a Panchakosha. See, otherwise people are thinking of it like wearing one underwear and then one shirt and then one sweater and then one coat on top of that and then one muffler. They think like that Panchakosha. See, if you realize every cell has a Panchakosha. What is Panchakosha? It is different levels of existence. So every cell in the body has a structure. Every cell has a structure. Structure of the cell is the cellular Annamaya Kosha. Now that cell is also having a function. Functional mechanism of the cell is its Pranamaya Kosha. That cell also has a certain cellular memory. That is its Manomaya Kosha. And the cell has intelligent feedback that is constantly knowing what to do, when to do, how much to secrete, how much not to secrete. It is its Vijnanamaya Kosha with Viveka Buddhi. And then every cell is connected to every other cell by a cosmic network, which is a systemic interactivity, which is the Anandamaya Kosha. Hence, if we understand this, we have no issues whether Panchakosha go in or outside. Panchakosha is every place all the time. It is everywhere all the time. So both perspectives can be understood and assimilated. Iti, as I said in the beginning. This is also true, that is also true. And when you put it all together, you get a bigger perspective. So this is one concept. Another beautiful concept is in modern psychology. It is called flow, F-L-O-W. And it means that you are losing yourself into that moment. You are singing and suddenly you are not singing anymore. The singing is just happening. You are in a state of dhyana. You are not there anymore. Just the dhyanam, dhyan purvak is there. You are dancing and suddenly nobody is dancing. The dance is dancing. That is Lord Nataraja himself is dancing through you. You go into that state of flow. You lose yourself into it. And today I read an article where they talked about Virat Kohli. Talking about this, he said when he was playing that amazing match where he hit more than 80 against Pakistan in the World Cup, he said, I realized my mind was spinning. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna says, Arjuna, that Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, Virat Kohli has said today in the newspaper, I was reading in an article, that Chanchalam is having, Chitta Vritti was going on, spinning out of control. He mentions this word, spinning out of control. And he said, at that time, I said, God has given me some ability. Let me give over. There was that Ishwar Pranidhana moment that occurred for Virat Kohli while playing that match against Pakistan. And he said, I don't know how I played. It just happened. That is that experience of flow. That is that experience. We all have it when we go into that beautiful state of dhyanam. That is why we cannot separate meditation from yoga, because the heart of yoga is dhyana. The antaranga, samyama is based on that practice. And today we are all going around saying yoga and meditation. Many people are saying yoga and pranayam. Uska matlab kya hai humko pata nahi. I don't understand what it means. Yoga and pranayam. You mean asana and pranayam? Oh yeah, yoga has become asana. Yoga ka matlab hai asana. We have downgraded yoga to the asana and not even asana, to a physical keep fit exercise. This is where the concept of yoga has flow. What is this flow? Nishkama karma. Nishkama karma that is talked about by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Yoga karma sukarshanam. What a beautiful concept he has given. Nishkama karma, but karmasu kaushalam. Both the non-attachment as well as the skillful action. Skillful non-attached action creates that flow because your skill is there. Modern concept, they talk about you have to increase the skill and you have to find the challenge. And then you go into this beautiful state of flow, which is that state of karmasu kaushalam, according to the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And that is where we start to realize how we can work internally through these processes. Another concept is the sympathetic parasympathetic activity that we have. Sympathetic, like the snake is chasing you. Fight or flight, you have to run away. Either you have to run away or capture that snake or beat that snake or do something. So what happens? You go into that full sympathetic overactivity. The other side is parasympathetic activity, finding that rest and digest, recuperate and balance. You have to rehabilitate and heal through rest and digest. And that is why in yoga, one of the most important therapeutic modalities is relaxation. People are often saying, Dr. Ananda, which is the best asana for diabetes? Which is the best asana for hypertension? Which is the best asana for insomnia? They always want one asana for one disease. That is called yogopathy, not yoga chikitsa. Yogopathy is like allopathy. You have headache, you take one medicine. You have BP, you take one medicine. You have sugar problem, you take one medicine. You have diabetes, you do one asana. You have hypertension, you do another asana. Yoga, Ganapati, Yogopathy. Yoga Chikitsa is whole person, Purna Swarupa. Ek Manushya ka Purna Swarupa. It has to understand. That is what we want to work. And relaxation is the key to healing. You cannot heal if you are stressed. Only when you relax can you heal. So that relaxation response has to be induced. And in my opinion, yoga's greatest contribution to modern healthcare is in this concept of relaxation. Non-pharmacological, cost-effective, self-directed relaxation. Patient can do for themselves whenever they want. You only have to teach them how to relax. It can be through asana, it can be through pranayam, it can be through dhyan. All of that is fine. Relaxation facilitates healing. Now, another concept I want to share here is a concept which may be a bit technical for some of you. Sinus arrhythmia. Now, sinus arrhythmia means that whenever you are breathing, your heart rate will change accordingly. So if you look at the bottom of this, we find that when you are expiring, when you breathe out, when you do the rechaka, what is happening is the heart rate is going slower. When you are breathing in, that is, you are doing the puraka, the heart rate is going faster. So heart rate becomes faster as you breathe in, heart rate becomes slower as you breathe out. This is called sinus arrhythmia. Arrhythmia ka matlab hai your heart rate is not in equal rhythm. It's going faster or slower. Sinus ka matlab here not the sinusitis that I'm suffering last few days, but it is not that. I'm doing all my Jalaneti and all my treatment, but still a little bit is there. Not that sinus. Sinus ka matlab hai sinus node in the heart. So it is normal. So what is happening? When you breathe in, the heart rate goes faster. When you breathe out, it goes slower. This is healthy. This is how it should be. This is good. And this is why we realize in pranayama, what do? That exhalation phase we are always trying to prolong. Traditional ratio of pranayama, you are doing 1:2. You breathe in for 6 count, you want to breathe out for 12 count. Because when you are breathing out, what you are doing? You are slowing down your heart rate. You are slowing down your heart rate. You are enhancing what is called vagal tone. You are producing relaxation. You are inducing healing. What a beautiful mechanism given by our great rishis. That time sinus term didn't exist, arrhythmia didn't exist, ECG doesn't exist. But because of the jnana drishti, antara drishti and jnana drishti, they understood. Because they always were asking the self the question. Modern experiment is done externally. The yoga rishis did it experientially. So they said, when we breathe out, the heart rate goes slower. So by breathing out longer, I can control my heart. I can control my heart by breathing out longer. And especially if you do pranayamas like Bhramari, it becomes easier to breathe out because when you do the nada anusandhana, when you use the nada, you can breathe out even more. Now, why is this important? Another diagram which some of you will say, we didn't want a medical class. This is not a medical class, but I'm giving you the synthesis here. We have something called the cardiac cycle. Cardiac cycle ka matlab kya hai? From starting of one point, it comes back to the same point in a circle. That is why it is a cycle. So the systole is where the heart is contracting. Diastole is where the heart is relaxing. So systole followed by diastole is one cardiac cycle. This is happening in the atria, happening in the ventricles. Now, why is this important? Because in the cardiac cycle, the amount of time for the ventricle, I'll only talk about the ventricle. It is the one cardiac cycle is 0.8 seconds, less than 1 second. So if your heartbeat is 75, 60 seconds in 1 minute divided by 75 gives 0.8. So one cardiac cycle, 0.8 seconds. Yes, 0.8 seconds may 0.3 second is utilized for systole. 0.5 second is used for diastole to relax. Contract करने के लिए 0.3 है, relaxation करने के लिए तो 0.5 है. Fine. Now, if your heart rate becomes faster, what will happen is cardiac cycle will become smaller. Suppose your heart rate is 120. Okay, एक number है, ज़्यादा stress हो गया, anxiety हो गया, एक anger हो गया. 120 your heart rate can go for many people. Now, if your heart rate is 120, 60 divided by 120, what has happened is your cardiac cycle is now 0.5 seconds. Now, 0.5 second में contract करने के लिए that 0.3 will remain same. अभी क्या नष्ट हो गया? Relaxation phase नष्ट हो गया. You have lost 0.3 seconds of relaxation phase. And it is in relaxation phase the heart is getting the blood from the body. It is getting the blood to pump. So the faster your heart rate goes, the less it can function properly. It is pumping, but it is not getting the blood properly. It is like the pump running when there is no water in the sump. If there is no water in the sump and your motor is running, you will burn out your motor. We all know that. When the municipal water comes to your sump, you fill your sump and then you have to fill your sump and then you put on the motor. That is the only way you can go forward. Otherwise, you are burning out. You are spoiling the motor, you are spoiling the pump because of that continuous action. That is what happens. Now, the same thing here. What is happening? When your heart is pumping systole, it is supplying the whole body, but it doesn't supply your heart muscle. When the heart is relaxing in the diastole phase, it is supplying the heart muscle. So when the systole occurs, it is supplying the whole body, but it doesn't supply itself. In diastole, it is supplying itself. So the heart rate going faster, what is happening is, it is working more, but it is not nourishing itself anymore. And this is why slowing down the heart is of paramount importance for a healthy heart. And that is why when you do the pranayama and you are extending the exhalation phase, the rechaka, you are slowing down the heart, enhancing the cardiac cycle, enhancing the relaxation phase, enhancing the blood to go to the heart muscles, and making the heart healthier. See how amazingly these teachings, the traditional teaching, why did they make it 1:2? Why did they say the exhalation should be more? We are talking philosophically, spiritually. Even at the physiological level, at the physical level, there's importance to it. Similarly, another beautiful concept, that is a yogic concept, is what we call Vibhaga Pranayama, where we breathe into the front, side and back region of the low, mid and upper parts of the lungs. So if you look at this, we are breathing into the low front, low side, low back, mid front, mid side, mid back, upper front, upper side, upper back, 9 areas. These are the subsections called Vibhaga. Bhaga means a part. Vibhaga is a specific smaller component. Now, this has been part of the tradition, what they call sectional breathing in many traditions. We call it Vibhaga Pranayama. What is important here is, this today can be understood by a modern medical perspective, bronchopulmonary segment. Bronchopulmonary segment are 10 subsections of each lung having their own air supply, their own blood supply, their own nerve supply, their own lymphatic supply. They are like the districts in the states. So what I say is, we have our beautiful country, Bharat. Bharat is made up of many states. The states are made up of many districts. So the full lung is Bharat. The lobe of the lung is the state, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. Within Maharashtra, you have all those districts. That is the bronchopulmonary segment of the lung. So just see here, what today in modern medicine, when I started doing my MBBS in 1993 in Nagpur University at Varda. In Varda, I did my MBBS. At that time, the textbooks were still not sure how many bronchopulmonary segments are there. Only in 1993, 30 years ago, I'm talking about. Not too much time earlier. Then by the time I passed out MBBS and I did internship in 1997-98, at that time they came to 10 in each section. Only in the last 25-30 years, we know that there are 10 bronchopulmonary segments. Thousands of years ago, our ancient yoga rishis are teaching you can mindfully send the prana into different part of your lung by mindful focus based on the concept yato mana tata prana. Where the mind goes, there the prana flows. They have been teaching. We thought, something they told, so we are doing. My guru told, so I am doing because his guru told him. Why you did? My guru told me. Now we understand our gurus were realized, enlightened rishis who have passed on this tradition to us. And that is why in our tradition, this whole utilization of the energy as we breathe from the front side back, front side back, front side back. You can see that this shape is looking like the Ida Pingala, the two serpents that are seen on the right and left coming together and dancing. When we breathe through this Vibhaga, when we do what is called Mahat Yoga Shwasa, Mahat Yoga Pranayama, and we utilize the complete yogic breathing, we are bringing to life the energy of the Ida Pingala to create a balance and let the energy move into Sushumna through the usage of the prana that is moving when we do this. Similarly, we have the traditional concept of the pranavayu. So the pranavayu, we all know, Hridi prano gude apana samana nabi mandale udana kanta deshasto vyana sarva shariragaha. And we learn it and we do it. In the modern way, when I talk to a modern medical doctor and I want to understand, we have to be careful because prana is moving throughout the body. The prana vayus are moving throughout the body. But if we translate the vayu as wind, which is often translated, the yoga teacher is talking to the doctor and he says the wind will move in your toes. Wind is moving in your toes. The doctor says wind will move in your nose, not your toes. See, this is the problem because we have to understand how to communicate. It is not the wind, it is the energy moving. And that is why the Vayu is given as a metaphor. Like the wind is moving, the energy is flowing. But because we took literal translation, Vayu is wind, so we said there's wind in your toes. And there's wind in your abdomen. Then that becomes gas, it becomes Pavan. That is different than Samana Agni. Samana is related to Agni, not to the Pavan. See, this is where we have to understand. So, when we talk about prana, the prana vayu prana, we say it is the energy of respiration. What is udana? The energy of communication. What is vyana? The energy of circulation. What is samana? The energy of digestion. What is apana? The energy of excretion. Then the modern medical person will understand. The scientific minded person will say, oh yes, what you are saying makes sense to me. Because now you have found common language. When you want to communicate, you have to find common language. Otherwise, you will be locked in the well like the frog. This is where that communication. And so in our hospital, when the doctor is referring a patient, we are in a modern medical university, A++ with NAC, one of India's top 70 universities. And we have patient is referred from the medical department to the yoga therapy center. Now it is ISCM, School of Yoga Therapy. We can also refer. I can say, I have given the yoga therapy. I want a psychiatrist opinion. I can also refer. They can also refer. It goes both ways. Now, when the doctor is referring someone to me, he will say this person has diabetes. this person has hypertension, this person has bronchial asthma, this person has insomnia. It's a diagnosis they will tell me. And sometimes what they will do, they'll write in it, give some yoga. Sometimes they'll say, give some breathing and relaxation. Unko man mein kya hai, they'll write. Now, when I talk to them, I have to say, I am giving the yoga practice tailored to your patient to enhance the blood sugar level. I have to talk to them like that. But I shouldn't give yoga therapy for diabetes. My yoga chikitsa is for that individual patient who has come to me. So I need to do a yoga diagnosis. What is their Vata Pitta Kapha dosha? What is their Prakriti? What is the guna? Is there a lot of tamasika guna, rajasika guna, sattvika guna? I have to understand that. I have to understand which of the prana vayu is not functioning. All of this I have to take into consideration, and I create a yoga chikitsa modality. We have 12 diagnostic tools. Dwadasha Roga Lakshana Anukrama we use in our system to create a yoga diagnosis, and then you give the yoga therapy. So our yoga therapy is based on yoga diagnosis. But when I talk to the doctor, I cannot say, I am setting right the Samana Vayu and the Apana Vayu. If I say that, I'll be kicked out of that institute. They won't understand. They'll say he's talking some nonsense. So when you talk to people, you have to give in their language, communicate with them. But for your own application, utilize the yogic system. This is why today, very popular in COVID time, everybody came to know about this. Because we came to know that if you are stressed, you are more likely to get COVID. Because if you are stressed, your immune system will go down. Immune system goes down, matlab hai, you can get COVID more easily. So they called it psychoneuroimmunology. How the nervous system interacts with the endocrine system and interacts with the immune system. This is what they found. Now, long ago, our rishis have given the same psychoneuroimmunology, which is the chakra system. Chakra system is the original aspect of it, where we understood that these endocrine glands that we are talking about today all have a correlation with what was considered the chakra, and how we can influence the matter, that is M, utilizing the mind to move from gross to subtle to causal. You want to work on the Sthula Sharira, influence the Sukshma Sharira, and attain the Karana Sharira. For that, we understand the power of the mind, contemplating on the different chakras, how we can start to influence this. And practices like the chakra pranayama, the chakra meditation, chakra dhyana, for example, all of these practices are enhancing the psychoneuroimmune function by enhancing the mind-body connection. Because all of this comes back to nervous system, endocrine system, and immune system. So you put stress into it, it affects the nervous, endocrine, immune system, retards the healing, delays the rehabilitation, weakens the system. Because that perceived stress that is coming, it will have all this negative impact. It will come into the cortical association area. It will come into the hypothalamus, the pituitary, come down into the adrenal gland. And what this has been understood long ago. So long ago. How long ago? Very long ago. Yoga Vashishta, Adija Vyadhi. How the agitations of the mind in the Adi coming down, influencing the haphazard flow of prana, unstable nadi and pranamaya kosha, leading to ajiranatvam, atijiranatvam, kujiranatvam in physical body, leading to disease. Psychoneuroimmunology, psychoneuroendocrinology was the concept that has always been there. Because from yogic viewpoint, we realize psychosomatic disorder, they start in the psychic phase, Vijnanamaya, Manomaya kosha, where there's a lot of overthinking and stress coming into the Manomaya, Pranamaya, where now the mind agitation, Chanchalami Mana, is now coming and affecting the flow of the prana. Then that is coming into the physical body, the somatic in Pranamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha. Finally settling as disease in the Annamaya Kosha. How all of this is happening, psychoneuroendocrinology, psychoneuroimmunology, is what has been understood already by the yoga. This is why one of my mentors, Professor Dr. Selvamurthy, who is with the Amity University now, but was with the DRDO and DIPAS in Delhi for many years, doing a lot of research in yoga. He says yoga has a 3-in-1 action against stress. He says it modifies the perception of the stress. So something is stressing you. Can you modify how you perceive that stress? Second is you respond to that stress. Can you optimize it so you are not overreacting or underreacting? And the third one is you release the stress. Holding on to the stress will make you sick. Releasing the stress. How do you release the stress? So many yoga practices. And this is where the salitogenesis concept of Antonovsky, he has given this concept where the stressor is there. Everybody has stress, some problem or the other. When that stress comes, there is some tension that is built into us. How we perceive that stress and how we respond to that tension either can make it go towards health promotion, H positive salitogenesis, or H negative pathogenesis. The same stress can either kill you or can make you healthier. How you respond to the stress. Now, what does Maharishi Patanjali call this? Pratipaksha Bhavanam. He says, whenever there is a vitarka, you have to adopt the Pratipaksha Bhavanam. Vitarka himsadaya, vitarka rita anumodita, lobha krodha moha purvaka, vridumadya adimatra, dukkha ajnana ananta pala, ide Pratipaksha Bhavanam. So beautifully is told us. When that stressor is there, that vitarka is there, catch it at the beginning. Apply Pratipaksha Bhavanam. Today in psychology, they call it CBT, Cognitive Behavioral Treatment. They call it CBT today. Original Patanjali, Pratipaksha Bhavanam. And that is why when we put yogic relaxation into this, so you put stress into it, you are worsening it. You put yogic relaxation into it, the same mechanism, nervous system, endocrine system, immune system, and you are enhancing healing. You are facilitating rehabilitation through this process. That is why a beautiful statement made by a Greek rishi, Plato. He says the treatment of the part shouldn't be attempted without treating the entirety. Treatment of the body without treating the mind and soul is a useless waste of time. Beautiful teachings which go in tune with our whole person approach. This is why many of the great modern scientists like Dr. B. Ramamurthy, the father of neurosurgery in India, he has said yoga reorients the functional hierarchy of the entire nervous system. And scientific evidence today shows yoga has promotive, preventive, and curative potential. It is a safe, non-pharmacological therapy. This is what people are looking for, non-pharmacological therapy, which is why yoga therapy can go with all other therapy. See, you cannot add homeopathy and modern medicine. You cannot add Ayurveda and modern medicine because they work in different way and both are drug-based, pharmacological. But you can add yoga therapy with Ayurveda, you can add it with homeopathy, you can add it with modern medicine, you can add it with physiotherapy, you can add it with psychic therapy, because it is non-pharmacological. This is a very big plus point. And we know that it is an effective lifestyle adjunct to reduce drug dosage and improve quality of life of the patients. We can help prevent and manage psychosomatic stress disorders like diabetes, hypertension, asthma, irritable bowel syndrome, epilepsy, back pain, and functional disorder. We can reduce or even sometimes eliminate the drug dosage and dependence in many of these conditions like diabetes, hypertension, constipation, dyspepsia, sinusitis, and dermatological conditions. But I always would like to warn here that the yoga therapist, the yoga chikitsak, should work in a team with the doctors. We have to have collaboration is important because often what happens is that there is a misunderstanding because of miscommunication. And that is where then we start to have a lot of antagonism. Lifestyle modifications, rehabilitation, coping skill, healthy diet, relaxation. We can reduce the expenditure of healthcare cost, anti-aging. In psychotherapy, it can be used in women's health, and so much of research can be done. So many places where this beautiful integration of tradition and science can occur. Because it has been shown that this type of lifestyle, a yoga-based lifestyle, can reverse the heart disease. Patients with respiratory disorders can improve. A therapeutic tool for children with special needs, metabolic conditions, perceived stress, all of this can be enhanced. And if you look at it, Sadhbir Khalsa gave this presentation some time back, that in the last decade, threefold increase in publications. Many of the publications from India, USA, and Canada. And they said the main three conditions that are being addressed: mental health. This is why at NIMHANS, the National Institute of Mental Health and Allied Sciences in Bangalore, they now have a full-fledged center, which started as an advanced center for yoga. It's now a full-fledged center of integrative health. Cardiovascular disease and respiratory disease are again important places where this integration can occur. Because yoga therapy works at the body level, the mind level, and the spirit level. Physically, if you look at it, it restores the function and creates healing, reduces suffering, and creates community. So we find that as a body, mind, spirit approach of yoga therapy, a whole person, holistic approach, it can add so much. And this is where we can go from pathogenesis to salatogenesis. Rather than just focus on disease to health. From going into a system to going towards the individual and what they can do for it. Because as we know, Yoga Chikitsa looks at the whole lifestyle. Achar, Vichar, Ahar, Vihar, and Vyavahar. All these five-fold components, creating healthy activities, healthy thought patterns, healthy diet, healthy relaxation, and healthy relationships, so that we facilitate health at all dimensions. Because if you look at the World Health Organization, it talks of health is a dynamic state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. Well, this definition has already been given the tools long ago, so long ago, by whom? Maharishi Patanjali, through the Ashtanga. Yama Niyama are enhancing the social health domain. See, WHO said 4 domain, we have the tools here. Through Yam Niyam, you enhance social health. Through Asana Pranayama, the physical health. Through Pratyahara and Dharana, the mental health. And through Dhyana and Samadhi, spiritual health. Now, I am giving this only for illustrative purpose. Please understand, Yama Niyama will also enhance spiritual health, and Dhyana will also enhance social health. So it is not watertight, but we can understand that Yama Niyama, when we live these principles of Adhikara Yoga, we are going to become a better human being and have better relationships. When we work on the body through the Asana Pranayama and the Hatha Yoga, we are going to enhance the physiological and physical status. The homeostasis is going to enhance. And mentally, that equilibrium, that Samatvam Yoga Uchate will come. And we become one with the spirit. We have that sense of oneness, which is the spiritual health. Another concept I wanted to share. Swara Yoga, an ancient science of breathing. We understood that the Shiva and the Shakti balance, the Ida and the Pingala, the Surya and the Chandra. And we understood it is right nostril, left nostril breathing. And today we realize through the right nostril breathing, the activity can be enhanced. Oxygen consumption, metabolism, the body temperature can be enhanced. Through Chandranadi, the rest phase, you can reduce the sympathetic, you enhance the relaxation of the person. And we realize that what was given as Swara Yoga can have physiological and therapeutic benefits in modern situations. Somebody is having hypothyroidism. You need to speed up the metabolism. There, Surya Nadi Pranayama is going to work as an effective technique. Somebody is having hypertension. The Chandra Nadi Pranayama is going to help to reduce that tension. We start to find therapeutic applications of these beautiful concepts when we understand them in that context. And of course, coming to dhyana, so many benefits are given. But before we understand it, we have to understand what is dhyana. Because dhyana in the modern context is sitting quietly, people say is dhyana. But according to Maharishi Patanjali, remember dhyana is the 7th anga. And he says, Desha Banta Chittasya Dharana, followed by that, Tatra Pratyaya Ekatanata Dhyanam. So only when that state of flow, that state of oneness is there, it is Dhyanam. Remember, I talked about that flow experience of Virat Kohli. We are talking of that type of experience where you have lost yourself into that state of meditation. You do not meditate, but meditation occurs. You can concentrate and meditation occurs. Dharana you can do, dhyana has to come as Ishvara Bhagavan Kripa. But if you look at the way the modern understanding, an intentional self-regulating focusing of attention to relax and calm the mind and body. This is actually dharana that they are defining as meditation in modern times. So we have to realize that though there are many studies that are reducing stress, enhancing quality of life, decreasing sleep, all of this is good. But most of the studies are done on concentration, not really meditation. So we have to understand that this is one aspect that has been proved scientifically, but we have to go deeper into the state of meditation and its impact. Because they say there are so many benefits. They have looked at people who have long history of 10 years, 20 years of different forms of meditation and studied them in that state of meditation, and they have found these beautiful changes that are there. They say when there is long-term meditation, there is thickening of the gray matter. As we become older, there is thinning of the gray matter. This is where meditation as anti-aging, yoga as a kaya kalpa sadhana is definitely coming in at that point, and you can enhance the immune response and of course all the physiological impacts of mind body. They have shown how there can be decreased inflammation, decreased blood pressure, decreased stress, improved mood and sleep, better cognition, even up to the gene level. Telomerase activity, gene expression also they say can change. Studies by Innes and Selfie in 2014. And they were looking at people who have Alzheimer's disease and cognitive decline, and how through the practice of meditation of different forms, they can enhance it. So even if concentration can do this, imagine what Dhyan can do. Because Dhyan is more than concentration. It is a deeper state of connecting to the self. And they say potential uses in stress-related, anxiety, cancer, fibromyalgia, you name the condition, they have suggested it can be used. Because there's so much of potentiality. Now, my only thing against all of these studies is they are looking at meditation as an entity separate than yoga. Whereas for me, meditation is part of yoga. We have to always remember it is an anga of yoga, and it is an important anga of samyama. So this we should always remember. Antaranga yoga, samyama, important anga is dhyana. And that is why let us not separate it from yoga. That is my request at this point. Because healing looks at lifestyle, attitude, relaxation and breathing. And all of these are facilitated when we take up the practice of yoga in its holistic manner. This is where we go into what is called integrative medicine, bringing all of this together to create qualitative and quantitative aspects. We want to balance the weakness of one system by the strength of the other. Allopathy is excellent in emergency. Yoga is excellent in chronic disease, NCDs. Let's bring them together, create that integration. That is what we are doing. And so we are moving from alternative medicine to complementary medicine to integrative medicine. Initially, alternative means you or me. Complementary means you and me. Integrative means us. Let us work together as a team, says integrative medicine. And this is why at our institute here in the university, we are trying to work towards this, in tune with the modern Ayush system, by integrating yoga and music therapy in our services of the hospital, communicating wellness for the patient, the staff, the students, the faculty. And since 2010, we had centers for yoga therapy and music therapy that on the 22nd August last year became the Institute of Salutagenesis and Complementary Medicine. You can see our own Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan from Pune, not too far away from where you all are, inaugurating it. And following that, you can see the type of work being done in our hospital, helping individuals. And again, here in palliative care, going into palliation, going into psychiatry, children with special needs, teaching the children who have special needs and working with them on a regular basis, working in the villages and the rural health center, in health camps, also bringing yoga there, at the OPD, wherever we are, and across all religious barriers, taking yoga to each and every person. And lot of research going on: hypertension, psychiatry, chronic kidney disease, sleep deprivation, lung disorders, maternal and fetal cardiovascular parameters, how when you combine yoga therapy and music, you can reduce the anxiety in people going for angiography, in autism spectrum disorder, in chronic rhinosinusitis. Again, in autism spectrum, the children, the oral health is not so good. How can you teach them oral health better? By including yoga. In depression, of course, it's useful. Alcohol de-addiction, we have shown it is useful. Again, protecting the kidney and chronic diabetes. In elderly women of a hospice, how yoga can enhance, mental health and other aspects. And again, going for a root canal, endodontic therapy, if you can give some relaxation and pranayama, can you reduce the anxiety? So we are one of the first places where yoga therapy is working with dentistry, how you can combine it, very novel aspects that are coming out on that side also. And all our medical students getting a yoga abhyasa program, so that they are getting the yoga while they're learning medicine, they are also getting the benefits of a yoga abhyasa. You can see right in the classroom, they can go and have a good stretch. Our professors in clinical meetings, again, taking yoga to them, wherever they are, creating that synthesis. Our nursing staff from the hospital, you can see them in the center practicing Bhramari pranayama, learning techniques to reduce their own stress. And again, Yuv Yoga Sangamam, bringing all the students of the university together and getting blessings from Guruji, Nagendra ji, Dr. Bijlani ji, Amma ji, from Kalavati from the UK, and again, Shirley Tellis, Sridharan ji, and giving his blessings, of course. And of course, one of the best compliments is from my own Dilip Dada, Dr. Dilip Sarkar, past president of the American Heart Association and also of the International Yoga Therapist Association. He said, this is 21st century medicine. This is the medicine of the future. This is how we have to take it forward. And I always end with a statement that the highest attitude for me is gratitude. When we have gratitude for all the gifts we have been given, we will then have automatically a seva bhavana to serve the humanity. And we need to move from an egological to an ecological perspective, where we realize we don't own anything. We are not the master. We are part of the team of this planet. And when we become a good team player, planetary health will be flourishing, ecological health will be flourishing. So moving from ego logical to ecological. And my own team at the university with our yoga therapy and music therapy team, thanking you for this wonderful opportunity to be able to share and be with you today for this excellent first Pushpa of the Pushpanjali Mala.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much for a wonderful lecture. And I have received many messages for you that it was a wonderful lecture, and everybody is delighted to have you over here. And on behalf of all our trustees and senior members, I thank you once again for this. But one more, we have some time, I hope, 5 to 10 minutes. There are 1 or 2 questions only. One question is, sir, that how is Einstein theory of E is equal to mc square is related to pranamaya kosh or the flow of prana? That is a question by our Balram Menon.
Very nice. You see, Einstein, in my opinion, is a modern rishi, and he understood spirituality through science. Now, when we talk about E is equal to energy, M is mass, and C is the light. So, when you can speed the mass, which is Stula Sharira, when you can speed the Stula Sharira up to the square of the speed of light, it becomes energy. And if energy is slowed down by the square of the speed of light, it becomes mass. So E is equal to mc square is a relationship between Stula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. That is how we can understand. So Stula Sharira is Annamaya Kosha, Sukshma Sharira is Pranamaya, Manomaya, Anandamaya, and the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Now with the chakra concept, the chakra is pure energy. It is E. Now we are equating it with Mooladhara chakra. We are equating with the gonads, testis and ovary. But the testis and ovary is not Mooladhara chakra. It is the physical correlation to the Mooladhara chakra in the physical body. But the Mooladhara chakra is pure energy. So when you focus on the gonadal area, when you send the mind, remember yato manat tata prana, where you send the mind by focusing your mind, which is all pointed, sarvartha ekagratayo, says Maharishi Patanjali. The mind that is scattered becomes focused. Light that is scattered becomes focused like a laser beam. When your mind is focused like that, the mass will become energy. So that C square is the power of the mind in the yogic concept. When you focus on the different chakra locations, the physical relationship, through your mind power, you are starting to connect to that chakra energy. That is the relationship of E is equal to mc square.
Excellent explanation, sir.
Beautiful explanation.
Now the time is also over, only 5 minutes left. So I would invite our Smita madam, ma'am, for the vote of thanks. So over to Smita madam.
Thank you, Nitin sir. First of all, my humble namaskaram to Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balayogi. Sir, it was really inspiring and thought-provoking and a very detailed, enriching lecture that you gave us today. As a student of yoga, I totally now understand the physical aspects better, much better, with the examples that you've given us. So we're so blessed to understand the topic of salutogenesis. The word itself is very big for a common person like me. I read into it, but now I understand better after hearing from you how it is connected to the topics that we have already learned under yoga. The synthesis of the traditional wisdom and the modern scientific knowledge that you have acquired through your professional courses is really what helped us through your words to understand this topic better. Thank you very much, sir, for that. I feel you are so blessed and enriched by both being born to such great parents, getting the beautiful experience and education that you have got, not only through yoga, also through the medicine field that you are in. So that is why you are able to explain to us in such simple words. They are very difficult topics, but you have made it very simple for us, students of yoga. Every step you connected the scientific terms of salutogenesis to the more known concepts of yoga. Thank you for that. It was very interesting to understand how much the yoga therapeutic implications are felt all over the world through the data that you have presented to us. Yes, we did understand it is much better than what it was in yesteryears through our own experience of conducting classes and etc. But this is more detailed. Thank you very much, sir. Like our Guruji has dreamt, always Yoga Vidya Gharu Ghari. You have now shown us the statistics of that, how it is already being spread, and we are only small petals helping our Guruji's knowledge to be spread. That is what, as yoga students from India, we are supposed to do. We are in part of that. You explained about Panchakosha, the connection with cellular connection. This was beautiful. Out of the mind, I was really floored when you explained that Panchakosha Dikha and sideways cellular ab dobara dikha. It was wonderful. Whoever has listened to the whole lecture will be not having words to explain the experience, sir. It was beautiful. You have simplified Chitta Vrittis and you gave the example of Virat Kohli. Six, sir. Thank you very much, sir. That was really sixer in the cricket sense. Beautiful. The modern psychology concept of flow, you explained through that example. Thank you, sir. And sinus arrhythmia, we have learned a little bit. We are not doctors, but whatever we understood through the anatomy that we learned in our course, cardiac cycle. Then you also talked about sectional breathing. Yes, we have learned about that, but this detailed knowledge was helpful to understand better. And this might help us better in spreading, teaching about these practices to our students or clients, whoever we are able to spread this knowledge. I humbly ascertain that we also share your view of whatever I understood from this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We will feel the whole family, the whole world is our family. That is what Guruji always used to stress. We are all a family. We call ourselves Yogini, Yoga Vidya Niketan family. So similarly, we accept each and every soul around us. So whatever you have taught now, I understand it as the knowledge of traditions of yoga simplified for the people like us to connect with the physical body. Thank you very much, sir, for making this easy concept for us today.
Smita, conclude with an Omkar.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. According to our tradition of Yoga Vidya Niketan, let us end this session with one Omkar. Please sit erect with the back erect. Shoulders are relaxed. Chin is parallel to the ground. Gently close your eyelids. Feeling blessed to have experienced such a beautiful lecture. Take a deep inhalation, positivity. Once more, namaskar to everybody, all my gurus and friends.
Dhanyavadaha. Thank you so much. And wishing the whole year of celebration a grand success.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Nitin
Please
sir.
conclude the meeting.